Hello everybody and welcome to the Adventures of Drawing. I'll draw a scene for you using a variety of pencils, a smudging tool and an eraser. So without further ado, let's go right into this. Alright, so I want to draw a variation or a scene that I did yesterday. So I've changed the relation between the sides of the scene. I'll make the inclination go down towards the right today, but most specifically I want to change the style, since I'm really not satisfied with the way the tree looked and generally with the way the trees look when I try to draw them more realistically. And I mean, I haven't found my style yet. There's a lot to experiment still and a lot to find out for me. But yeah, today I want to draw it in a more comic style way, or more like the way I did draw things before on here, by just leaving outlines and yeah, making more outlines. So I'll just see how that goes today. I'm right now setting up the scene right here, trying to sketch the outlines of everything. Make it a little different, but also somehow the same. Okay, let's go in here. Let's have this inclination like this, just like yesterday in the foreground. And I'm thinking about putting in a fence. Yeah, let's go in and have a fence go along that way, maybe. Okay, now let's start with the background. And yeah, so let me put in something else here, and then something right there, since I don't want to draw tree trunks back there. Okay, and then I put in a little bit more detail in the outline of those bushes right here and those trees up there. Maybe you see a couple of volumes of leaves like this. Okay, let's also have something grow down here to make it more three-dimensional. All in all, not have everything just appear on one line. Okay, I'm going in and just giving that a light value like so, and then I'll give it a little bit of a darker value, and I'm just leaving the tree tops light. Like so. Okay, going in here like that. Maybe a little bit more up, so we've got more space to go darker. Okay, same right here, and in here like so, and right here. Okay. Now I'll go in with the 3B pencil and just above each new top of those bushes or trees, I'll go in even darker. Not everywhere, just the most recessed areas and the lower areas down here. Maybe like that. And down here like so. Down here and in here. Okay. And that's almost it already. I just want to go in a little bit more detail and just draw a couple more volumes in there. Maybe like this. Maybe just a couple of individual arcs. Got something there and something down here. Okay, like this. Maybe like so. Something in here. Okay. And that's the forest done already. So let's go in and draw those bushes over here. Same thing, just giving them a little bit more detail. Okay, and that's going to disappear behind the tree in front, so there's nothing going to be there. Maybe like this, and maybe one tall bush going in the back right here, maybe like that. Okay, giving it all a light value. Right there. And I'll go a little darker by just going across in the other direction with my cross hatching. And I want to just slightly change the lighting today, and I'll not put a light or a highlight and a shadow on any particular side. The highlights are just going to be up on top. Okay, just a little bit of a darker shadow in here, down there. Maybe now I'll go away from cross hatching and make a little bit of a structure and put some branches in there. Maybe like this. And also maybe I can put something in here for that little bit extra detail. Maybe a couple of branches that we can see. Looks like a really thick foliage though, so I don't think there would be many branches, maybe just like that. Okay, now let's go in here and add just a couple more volumes, not too many, just like this. Maybe something going in right here. Okay, and that's that. Now I want this part of the ground to be different from this one, but I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, and I'm not sure if it's going to stick out or look separate enough from those trees and bushes back here in the background. So I'll just try something right here. Maybe go in like this, put in some detail, just a couple of lines in there. And I think that's pretty good. Very much more than I expected, and a good contrast to those trees. I didn't think that would look so different. I was afraid that the ground wouldn't be too discernible from the trees, but I'm really pleased with how this turned out right here. Okay, now I gotta think about what my next step is. So I think I'm maybe putting in the fence. And just like yesterday, I want there to be a little bit of higher grass growing just below the fence, since nobody can mow that directly below the fence. The lawnmower bumps against the fence and leaves a little bit of high grass down here. Maybe like this. Just extending that a little bit. Like that. And going into the foreground right here already with a couple of random lines. Okay, and then let's go for the fence itself. It's a little bit closer now than it was yesterday, so I'll make it a little taller. And still really crooked fence posts. I like those. They're there for a long time already. Really old and withered. Okay. Maybe you can see one more reaching up here behind the tree. Okay, now let's give them a shape. Maybe like this and like that. This one a little thicker as well. I'm not giving those a light side. Just going with the more like comic style today. It doesn't have to have a light side. It sticks out very well like this. And it doesn't have to be realistic. Maybe there was a branch once upon a time when that post was a tree. And here's one as well. Okay, now let's go in here and put some lines between those posts. Really low right here. And up here, let's put in a little bit more. And if that's cord, then it's really straight, or maybe arcing down between the fence posts. But if it's wire, like I think it is, then it can be a little bent, since the wire keeps its shape once you touched it. Okay, we've got our fence right here. I was thinking about giving this little area just below those bushes a different type of texture. I've got those two lines right here. The upper one is just the correction from the horizon line, but I took this as an inspiration to put in another area right here. That's just below the bushes and it stops right here. Okay, just a little bit of rough something, and let's have some lines of grass growing in here, maybe like this, and coming in from behind the tree, growing right there like that, and then a couple of long blades of grass right here in front of the bushes, and some poking up here. Okay, now let's go into drawing this tree, shall we? So I'll give all those volumes that we've got right here some more detail. And right now I'm thinking about leaves poking out in here. Back there, those individual bumps aren't leaves. They are volumes of many leaves combined, where a branch forms a volume out of a lot of leaves. But here in the foreground, we can see the individual leaves. So I'm making many arcs right here, and I'm trying to make them different sizes. Oh, that one's a little bit too large maybe, but I can just draw over it. With a firm line and give it a couple more leaves in that area. Okay, I gotta be careful not to use those lines that I made for the trees in the background. I mean, I can have another volume go in here, but I don't want to have too many yet. Maybe this one goes up in here though, like this. And this one is down here. And then we've got just one more up in here. Make sure to create those small recesses. Makes it really look like some of those leaves poke out more than others, and creates subdivisions and interesting spots in your volumes. Okay, well, let's go ahead and draw the trunk already in here. So it's below this thick foliage. So it's very much all in the shadow for one, and for another point also today's the comic style. So I just make it dark down here, maybe just like yesterday, to give it some three-dimensionality. I'll have a little bit of a darker area to the left right here, maybe like this. Okay, then I'll go in here and give this entire area a light gray value, but if I continue like this, I'll destroy the nice detail in those bushes back there. So I'll get something, whoops, to place on there. Do I have a scrap piece of paper? Yes, of course I do. Okay. Now my hand can slide across the paper without destroying those bushes back there. Happens faster than you think. Okay. Over here. Let me try and get this entire area with one stroke. That's a difficult task, I think. But I don't want separations. Okay. Maybe that's good enough. Now, I think I need some more subdivision in here. Subdivisions. Maybe there's one right there. Let's see about this. And that's maybe all it takes to make this look not too empty. Yeah, I think so. Let's have this volume right here. Like this. Sticking out. And maybe going down like that on this side. Okay, now I gotta think about where I'm going to place the next cross-hatching section. But it's not too hard of a task. Just above all those volumes and leaving the upper area light like this. And going across this direction is much harder to have an equal stroke or equal lines, since you can't use your elbow. But I'm trying to do my best to make this cross-hatching section more or less regular. Doesn't have to be 100% regular though. This is not a machine part I'm drawing, so it's okay if it's a little wild and organic. I'm realizing I'm not really going very much darker. I should apply a little more pressure. Okay, in here, leaving this last volume lighter, and then let's go across here once more to make this a little darker. Going in like this, going in here again. All right, up here maybe. That should do it, I think. Okay, on to the next part of the shading. I don't know if I'm going to go in with another shade after this. I think I can. Just because I used only 3 shades in the background doesn't mean I have to only use 3 in the foreground. In fact, I do want a little bit more detail in here, in this magnificent tree. So I'm going to go in a little bit more, going across diagonally in one direction first, like so. Going in here, joining those volumes, and maybe a little bit in here. Extend this a little bit more, I think, and this one. And now I'll go across in the other direction again to have some nice and dark shadows down here. Maybe like so. Get a little darker down there. Maybe in here, in this recessed area. And also over here. And then completing the rest of the lower side of the tree. Going in all the way to the top of this volume right there, and maybe making this area a bit larger like that. All right. I can also create a little volume poking out like this right here to make it more interesting. And another one right here also. Okay. Now we've defined the volumes, and I think this tree already looks nice and three-dimensional. So the next step is, again, putting in a little bit more detail, just like in the background. I'll switch to the HB pencil and just go in and draw a little bit more of those lines right here, of those leaves. They can come up from another line that's already existing, but they can also just pop up like this out of nowhere. Okay, right there. And I just do this in the brighter areas. There's no point in going into the darker areas with this pencil right here. I'll have to use a darker pencil for the darker areas. Okay, over there and right there. Just a couple more lines. Adds a neat little amount of detail to this tree right here. Every once and again, make those lines longer, make them shorter. Maybe have just one leaf pop out like this. Okay, and now going down here, I'll go in with the 3B pencil again. And right here, I want those arcs to go downwards, since that's where the leaves are facing, the way they are popping out downwards like that. Okay, something in here, a little one in there, and there we go. I think that's enough. Okay, now we'll go into the foreground right here. Gotta think a little bit about how I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll use the HB pencil and create just a couple of arcing lines in here that indicate some elevations that are going on in here. So going in and out of the frame, down here to the lower side, and some disappearing right here in front of this part of the foreground. Okay, and then I'll just go in and fill those areas in. Maybe the upper area of each of those little tiny elevations is lighter than the lower area. So I'll make those lines that I made a little darker, and I'm extending them down to the next line. And I'll make sure I'll go lighter as I go down towards the next line. That creates all those nice little elevations down here in the terrain. Makes it interesting. Like so. And in here. And we've got somebody popping into the stream. I didn't see you there. Don't know for how long you've been there. Hello, hello. I'm glad you're here. I hope you like what you see. I was so absorbed by drawing this scene that I didn't pay a lot of attention to the stream. It does happen. Okay. This one over here. Right there. That one. Going all the way down. Down, down, down to the lower edge of the scene right here. And then we've got this one down there. The very last one right here. Okay. Now, depending on how much detail you want, you can just leave it at that, or you can go in on those upper areas of the elevations and just draw in a couple more lines, and also go down with a little zigzag line. I'll try and demonstrate it a little bit right here, but I don't want to get too much detail in here right now, since sometimes too much is too much. Well, too much is always too much. But what I want to say, I guess, is you can overdo it. Okay, and that's why I'll make those just a little bit more visible to you, since I think you can't really see those. Okay, like this right here. Gives nice little subdivisions in those elevations, in those terrains. Okay, but that's it. Okay. One more thing in this area right here. I want this tree to have a shadow. So I'm just going in with the 3B pencil and creating a dark area just around the tree trunk and all the way below the volume of the leaves. Right there. Okay. Now I've got one last challenge, and that's this foreground part right here. And I'm going to do something that I haven't done yet. I want our point of view to be really low to the ground, and in front of our eyes there are the blades of grass sticking out up into the scene. And now I could mess up everything with this, but I just want to try it out. So I use the HB pencil just to go in and indicate some of those blades of grass that we can see right here. And there are a couple back there and in here, and they also grow in from below like this, maybe like so, and then we've got another layer growing right here. Good idea, thanks. Good to see that you like it. Okay, maybe one more layer of grass coming in right there. I'm not sure if that's enough. Maybe it is going to look very, very empty right here. Maybe I have to put in many more blades of grass than I'm putting in right now. But the only way to find out is to just go for it and just do this. So in the background, or not the background, in the back of the foreground right here, I try to go in with the 3B pencil and create some shadow sides to those blades of grass, and also add a couple more. And we've got some in here, those ones growing to the front right there. And I think, well, this one would have to be much wider, but maybe that's for later. Let me first finish this back layer of the foreground right here. Yeah, it doesn't look like too many blades of grass in here. Gotta put in a couple more, I think. And then also, maybe I can create the illusion of a lot of grass growing here by just going in with a wild zigzag. Since there are many thousands of blades of grass just in this area that I can see here, and of course I can't draw all of those. So I gotta help myself with a little trick in here. Got a couple more growing up like this, and then some more random lines down here going really wild down there. Okay. Maybe I have to give this entire area a little bit of a darker value, so I'm just making the gaps in between the blades of grass darker with the HB pencil. And I think that does look a little bit like a lot of grass growing right here, but I don't think that's enough. I think we have to go in and give it a little more, and also, since we're so close, we can see the width of those blades right here. They're not just lines of the pencil anymore. They're as wide as this right here, for example. and this one right there, and there's another one I indicated. Let's go in here. Okay, like that. And you can also give them a dynamic. They don't have to be fine up here and then constantly wider and wider, because sometimes they twist and turn. Let me try and pull that off. So we've got one right here, and the tip is pointed, of course, always, but when we can see a wide area, and then down here it twists. And so right here we've got a very fine area of this blade of grass right here. Yeah, I just fill in a couple more. Maybe I'll even use the 7B pencil since we're very close right here. So to up the contrast a little bit, I want to put one more in here and maybe one more, but I don't want to do it over here since I don't want to cover up those bushes that I've got going on in the background. I really want those to still be visible. Okay, going in here with another thick area up here and then getting thinner and thicker again, like so. Okay, the next one maybe grows right here, and maybe it's like this. Maybe there's one growing to the side like this, and maybe it's another type of grass. Maybe it's like this. Then there's a little knot in here, and then there's another blade sticking out, or maybe it even goes up all the way in the sky, and then right here to the other side we've got this blade coming down like that. How's that? I think that's pretty neat. All right, coming in like so. Great, I'm glad you like it. Okay, well, one thing I'm not really satisfied with is the density of the blades of grass right here. So I could just cover up those bushes in the background. You know what? I'm really tempted to do that. Okay, maybe those blades don't go all the way above the bushes. Maybe there are some just sticking out like this. So I'll leave the top of those bushes, but also get in more grass down here. Maybe that's a compromise. Okay, maybe some more random lines for the illusion of detail and the illusion of a lot going on. One more here, one more going across like this. Okay, gotta somehow fill this gap a little bit. Maybe like so. And then another one down here and something down there, and let's just go really dark down here. Okay. Now I just want to go over to that side a little bit more, fill in some more of those areas. Okay, I've got this one right here, that one right there, this in here, maybe another one growing more like this. Darker down here, so I don't have to worry about anything. Maybe something just poking in like that. Maybe that helps also to give it some density. Down here, all the way, all the way. This one right there. One right here. In here. Over there. Then that one. And maybe this one. Okay, let's just go darker down here now. And then call it a day. Okay. Yeah, not too shabby, I think. When I started this foreground right here, I was really afraid I couldn't fill it up enough. It could be denser, but it's also not too light, I think. It's pretty good. I can leave it like this, I think. So let me clean up the edges. All right, maybe I have to go a little darker going down here, so this all adds up. Maybe like that. Okay, let's knock off that eraser residue and just very gently wipe it off. Try to barely touch the piece of paper, otherwise you mush all your lines that you just made. Okay. All right. And that's the scene for today. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you like what you see. Hope you get something out of this. Maybe the inspiration to draw yourself or be creative in some other way. Or you just use this as ASMR in the background for you to get some work done. That'd be great as well. Whatever people can use this for, whatever use someone gets out of this, I am grateful for. And I'm glad people tune in and watch me live. Thank you very much for that. And thanks for dropping into the chat and letting me know what you think. It really motivates me to keep going with this. All right. Also, if you watch the VOD, feel free to drop down in the comments and tell me what you think. It's not too late for that. But now, with all this said, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.